Success. Everyone wants to know its secret. They see the end result, this sprawling mansion with its manicured lawns, the luxury cars in the driveway, the tailored suits, the magazine covers. They see a man who made it. But what does that really mean? To understand this story, we need to peel back the layers. We need to go back. Not just a few years, but all the way back. It's funny, at my last charity gala, someone asked me what it felt like to be an overnight success. 20 years. That's how long my overnight took. Standing there in my $5,000 suit, I couldn't help but think about the factory uniform I used to wear, how it felt against my skin after a 12-hour night shift. But let me show you what they don't see in those magazine photos. Boardroom. Downtown. 50 stories up. I'm signing the papers for our first major acquisition. 5 companies joining our umbrella. The lawyers are smiling. The board members are nodding. My hand is steady now, but my mind? It's back in that small office where I spent countless nights sleeping on a used couch from Goodwill. You see, confidence isn't born in boardrooms. It's built in the trenches, in the moments when you're alone with your doubts and you choose to keep going anyway. They called it our breakthrough year. Finally, after 3 failed versions, our software platform took off. The tech blogs were buzzing, investors were calling, but success has a funny way of making people forget the struggle. Let me take you back to version 1.0. 3 years earlier. My team? Non-existent. Just me, hunched over a laptop in a studio apartment that smelled like the Chinese restaurant downstairs. Debugging code at 3 a.m., eating ramen noodles and wondering if I was crazy to keep trying. Picture this. A whiteboard propped against the wall of a mobile home. The markers running dry, but I can't afford new ones yet. My second company had just folded. Investors paid back, savings gone. The neighbors think I'm crazy. This guy in trailer 27B, spending every free moment learning to code from free online courses. But here's what they didn't understand. Rock bottom is actually a pretty solid foundation to build from. When you've got nothing left to lose, you find a kind of freedom, a clarity. Bankruptcy court parking lot. I'm sitting in my beat-up Honda, staring at the final papers. First business venture, total failure. Marriage, over. Savings, gone. The rain's pounding on the roof, and I'm having one of those moments where you either break or break through. You know what I had left? A laptop that took 5 minutes to boot up, and this crazy belief that I could build something meaningful. That night, in my parents' spare room, surrounded by boxes of my old life, I started writing a new plan. The day I quit my factory job, everyone had an opinion. You don't have a degree. You don't have connections. You don't have experience. What they didn't know was that I had something more valuable. I had a vision. You see, for years I'd watched the inefficiency, the waste, the broken systems. Every night shift, I'd fill notebooks with ideas. Better ways to track inventory, smarter processes, solutions to problems the management didn't even know they had. Let me take you to where it really started. Factory floor, night shift. The machines are so loud you have to shout to be heard. I'm 24, living paycheck to paycheck in an apartment complex where the heat works when it feels like it. But every night, in a worn notebook hidden in my locker, I'm sketching out ideas, dreams, plans. The other guys, they see a machine operator. But in my mind, I'm already building something bigger. Success isn't a moment. It's not a destination. It's a transformation. Each setback, each failure, each moment of doubt, they're all part of the story. They're the chapters that nobody reads about in those glossy magazine profiles. You want to know the real secret? It's not about the brilliant idea. It's not about luck. It's about getting knocked down 7 times and standing up 8. It's about believing in your vision when nobody else does. It's about being willing to look foolish, to fail publicly, to start over. The hardest part? It's not the long hours. It's not the failures. It's the uncertainty. That voice in your head asking if you're crazy to keep trying. If you should just give up and get a real job. The nights when you're staring at the ceiling, wondering if you're just chasing a dream that's never gonna come true. But here's what I learned. That voice, it's testing you, seeing if you want it bad enough. Success isn't about silencing the doubts. It's about acting in spite of them. Watch my story in reverse, and you'll see something interesting. The mansion, the car, the suit, they're not the success. They're just symbols of the real transformation. The real success is in who you become along the way. That factory worker with the worn notebook, he had to become a student again, learning skills he never thought he'd need. That failed businessman in the bankruptcy court parking lot, he had to learn humility, resilience, and the courage to start over. That guy in the trailer park with the whiteboard, he had to learn patience, persistence, and the ability to ignore the naysayers. So now when people ask me about success, I tell them to look past the obvious, past the mansion, past the car, past the suit. Look instead for the small decisions, the daily choices, the moments when you choose to keep going even when every logical voice is telling you to quit. Because success isn't what happens to you overnight. It's what you build day by day, failure by failure, lesson by lesson. It's not about the destination, it's about who you become on the journey. The next time you see someone who's made it, remember, you're not seeing the whole story. You're seeing the final chapter of a book that took years to write. And the real story? The real story isn't in the ending, it's in all the chapters that came before. Success isn't given, it's not granted, it's not inherited, it's earned, one day at a time, one failure at a time, one lesson at a time. And the only real secret? There is no secret. Just persistence, vision, and the courage to keep going when everyone else would understand if you quit.